Good afternoon, people of God. Thank you to everybody who's been watching the Lawful Captive series. It's just, it's amazing, to see what the Lord is doing in the life of the captives. And I am a testimony being, that I was in captivity for up until like 6 years ago, and there are still battles that are, because after captivity you have to fight the familiar spirits and the bloodline iniquities, and there is a lot of warfare that comes after, but the Lord is our help. Amen. So I was thinking about like how Egypt went into captivity free, because Jacob took his family from Canaan to Egypt, where Joseph was, because of the famine. And they freely went there, but then they left as captives. And I was thinking about before Moses was born, there was an opportune time for them to leave before the new Pharaoh took office. Like, they decided to stay and build and have families there, and multiply there and stuff like that. But one thing that resonated with me is nobody in Israel, in the time when they were residing, after the famine was over, right? Nobody said like, hey, maybe we should go back to Canaan. Egypt is not our land. We only came here because Joseph was here, and then there's a famine here. But we don't belong here. Surely they knew that the promised land that was given to Abraham was Canaan. So their land was Canaan, right? So I'm wondering, like, they were in Egypt for quite a long time, over 40 years, from, before even Moses was born. And so all the elders that knew their God, and they just remained in Egypt. Like, there was nobody that stood up and said, we don't belong here. Jacob came from Canaan into this land. We should go back to Canaan. But they stayed in Egypt, until eventually they became captives in Egypt. And it just brought me back to like how Jacob stayed in Laban's house, his father-in-law's house, until eventually he became a captive in that house. Sometimes we stay in places that the Lord is trying to pull us out of, and we not only become captives in that place, our children become captives in that place. And one of the reasons why I was so determined to leave, the house that I was living in, that I grew up in, was because I had a baby now. And, I had a baby now. The marriage didn't work, and I'm moving back home and stuff like that. But then I'm like, I need to do better for myself, for my baby. And the first thing is like, I need to get out of here. I need to get my education, get myself together, and get out of here. And though it was it was like a process, but the Lord was with me every step of the way, because he wanted me out of there. You understand? So a lot of the time, where our parents don't take us from, we become captives in that place, to that place, And I was thinking like, God had to like literally bring in a special person, Moses. He had to send Moses, because nobody, no elders, was saying to the children of Israel like, hey, what are we doing in Egypt? We don't belong here. We had a promised land. Our ancestor Abraham lived there. Isaac there. Jacob was there until he came into Egypt, where we are slaves now. But we have our own land. We don't belong here. And nobody got up and stood up and said, let's go back to Canaan. And so if you are a chosen one out of your bloodline, if you are a chosen one, like that was sent to your bloodline, and you're wondering like, damn, I gotta break all these generational curses, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. You have to, because nobody else in your family was able to do it. So God sent you as that Moses of your family. God sent you as that Moses to deliver your family, because nobody else was able to do it. So you now have to stand, and you have to say, let's go back to Canaan. Meaning, let's go back to the ways that the Lord, the promised land. Let's go back to Eden. Let's go back to the ways of the Lord. Let's go give ourselves to the Lord like how we used to. Let's put away the things of the world, idolatry. Let's put away all of these things, and let's cleanse ourselves. You are chosen one out of your bloodline. If you don't stand, your children will become captives of that place, of those spirits. And they will have to fight the battles that you were not able to fight. Oh, sorry. Oil in my hair. And they will have to fight the battles that you were not able to fight. You know? And in this season, I feel like God is calling out the lawful captives. Whoever you are that is chosen in your bloodline, answer the call so that your children don't have to suffer. Answer the call so that it doesn't have to be many, many more years, 40 more years of your family being in captivity before another chosen one can be born. Answer the call. And as much as as much as it's hard, it's warfare, it's a lot, but it's worth it when you get to Canaan. It's worth it when you get to the promised land. Your children will be free. Okay, so that was just placed in my heart to come to say, join us this Friday for episode 3 of The Lawful Captives. I hope I see you all there. Have a wonderful day, people of God.